My putter and I used to be in a very toxic relationship. And then we went to therapy where I learned 13 things about putting I wish I had learned way sooner. Now, if you can relate to that, putting like you're a drunken, blindfolded pirate with a hook for an arm and a wooden leg, then this video is going to help you because I'm going to cover 13 tips on putting I wish I had learned way sooner. First thing I wish I had known a lot sooner about putting is ball position. I see so many guys set up to a putt, and sometimes their feet are here, the ball's in the back of their stance. Other times it's all the way up on the front toe. Sometimes it's in the middle. It's just inconsistent. When you set up to putt a golf ball, it should be consistent. You should have the ball in the same place every time. Tiger Woods talked about imagining as he's over the ball, dropping a ball from his dominant eye, and that's where his eye position should be relative to the ball, and that's where he should stand. But getting in the same setup position on every putt, every time, where your eyes, hands, feet, the ball, shoulders, everything all relative to each other in the same position every time, makes a huge difference, and you'll be much more consistent in your putting. Second thing I wish I'd learned a lot sooner is the concept of stillness. I see so many people who set up to putt and they've got their arms like this and they're making a lot of movements with their arms. That creates problems. Hard to be consistent that way. I see a lot of people understand, oh, I need to keep my arms and my wrist less movement, and so I'm going to do this, but then they're making a big turn with their body. I see a lot of people who stroke the putt and they're like this, looking up to watch the ball go into the hole. You got to quit all of that. I wish I had learned a lot sooner to make a connected stroke, where I have my elbow pitch turned up at the sky like I'm giving blood, pull the putter into here, and use my large muscles, the back. Feel like I'm powering the stroke by squeezing my shoulder blade into my spine. Tiger Woods talked about that, talked about how when he putted, he felt like he could feel the tension here in his upper back. And what he was saying is that he was using those large muscles there to putt. When I go out and work on my putting for an hour or two, I feel like I've had a core workout, an ab workout. That's what you're going for. Jack Nicklaus talked about the concept of stillness. When you're making a connected stroke like this, it's easy to get the wobbly knees and legs. Jack said you want to feel like up to about the knees, you're standing in concrete so that there's no movement. It's just those large muscles. And then the process or the thought process of skipping a beat. For me, there's a rhythm and a tempo to my putting. It's 1, 2, 3, back, contact, look. I don't look up until there's another beat there. That means I don't see 3 or 4 footers go in, and that's okay. But it's back, contact, look. I'll try to illustrate that for you right now. I didn't look until the putt hit the stick. Third thing about putting I wish I'd learned a lot sooner is the concept of grip pressure. How hard do you hold this putter? When I first started playing, I had a death grip on it, realized that wasn't good, and then people said, oh, you need to hold it gently like a baby bird. Well, I don't know about you. I don't run around holding baby birds very often, so I don't have a frame of reference for what that's like. But then I figured out I need to grip the putter firm enough to control this putter head and especially this putter face. And in addition to that, I need to grip it soft enough that there's no tension in my wrist, my hands, and my arms. Tiger Woods talked about his grip pressure on a scale of 1 to 10 being about a 6. And for me, I think that's about right. My thought process is, if the scale is 1 to 10, with a 1 being the putter is gripped so loosely I can't hold it in my hands, that's too soft, and a 10 being so tight that I'm getting white knuckles and tension In my forearms, that's too hard. So about a 6 for me, as firmly as I can grip it without having any tension in my hands or arms. Speaking of things I wish I knew about earlier, I wish I had known about encapsulated caffeine. I recently discovered a product called Magic Mind. Folks at Magic Mind reached out to me and sent me some samples, and I love these shots, which is why I agreed to have them sponsor this video. These Magic Mind shots contain vitamin C, vitamin D3, and other things to help you focus, reduce stress, and remain calm, yet give you energy at the same time. Now they have 3 different products. I chose the Magic Mind Max because it has 165 milligrams of encapsulated caffeine, and that means time release. I'm a coffee lover and I have a very busy life, but I noticed as I age that caffeine gives me a big boost followed by a crash. And I run a small business here in Las Vegas in addition to running Mr. One Putt and having to record and edit and put videos together every week for YouTube, and then in other formats for TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. And I run a household and have a life, and I'm busy. I don't have time for an afternoon nap every week, so I love the fact that the Magic Mind Max gives me a boost without that caffeine spike and crash. 165 milligrams, a little less than a cup of coffee, but it's a time release of caffeine, which keeps me going, keeps me mentally sharp and focused so I can keep up with all the things in my busy life, and also keeps from having that caffeine crash. My son has problems with caffeine. It's almost like he's allergic to it. It causes issues. So he uses the Magic Mind Free, which has 0 caffeine, but still helps his memory and focus, keeps him from having brain fog. And the lady in my life loves the Magic Mind Original because it works for her. Lower dose of caffeine, which she doesn't want in the middle of the day, but she does want that energy and that calm relaxation. Link in the video description to where you can get Magic Mind, get yourself a discount. Again, they did sponsor this video. Magic Mind also helps with the 4th thing I wish I'd known about putting a lot sooner, and that is the importance of a mental attitude. So much of putting in golf is mindset, believing that I'm going to make the putt, confidence, taking the negative self-talk out of there. I do a lot of content on mental attitude and mindset in putting, but if you'll change your attitude and start to convince yourself that you're a good putter and you're getting better, it'll make a difference and save you some strokes and some pain. 5th thing I wish I'd known about putting a lot sooner is the importance of a consistent pre-shot routine. I see so many people who have a different approach on every green and on every putt, and that just doesn't work. And so I've learned to do the same thing, the same routine on every putt every time. I've got a routine for reading the green, and after my green reading routine, I go into my putting routine. It's the same thing every time before the shot. Set the putter face on the target line, do my checks for my shoulders, my feet, my eye, my hands, all that's good. Look at the hole, see the ball going in, trace back up to my line, make the stroke. But it's the exact same thing on every putt. You don't have a rock solid, consistent routine. Try it, establish one, it'll make a huge difference for you. 6th thing I wish I had figured out way sooner is the concept of lag putting. I'm talking about putts, say 30, 40 feet long, anything over 25 feet. You're not going to make very many of those. Even the PGA Tour pros get down 10% and less from those kind of distances. But what you want to do is make sure that you put it close enough that you make the second putt to eliminate 3-putting. And I wish I had understood earlier the concept of the 10% rule for lag putting. That means whatever distance you are from the hole on your first putt, you want to nail that first putt within 10% of that distance. So you've got a 30-foot putt, you want to get it within 3 feet of the hole. You got a 60-foot putt, you want to get it within 6 feet of the hole. That takes the pressure off of you feeling like you've got to make that, that also gives you a much larger window to finish in, and then you aim small and miss small, you'll get there. All right, here's an example. I've got a 40-foot uphill putt, and I want to get it, that means within 4 feet. Let's see how we do. Mission accomplished. That's about 6 inches out of the hole. And let me add that on those longer putts, you ought to be sure and add a little bit of extra brake, because if you do, what happens is if you've added extra brake, the ball is always moving closer to the hole if you miss. If you don't allow enough brake, it's moving further away from the hole. That'll help you get inside that 10% rule. But work on your lag putting with that concept in mind. Apply the 10% rule. It'll ease your mind, make you more consistent, and you'll be a lot closer for your second putts. Seventh thing I wish I'd learned about putting way sooner is the importance of consistent ball contact. And by that I mean I want the center of the putter face to hit the equator of the ball, not the top of the ball, not the bottom of the ball, because consistent contact helps me make a stroke that gets the ball rolling end over end, which makes the putt way smoother, way more consistent, way more accurate, and less affected by imperfections on the green. And you know that you struggle with this one if you sometimes hit the putter on the ground behind the ball or you drag it behind the ball, then this one applies to you. So I learned a drill to do that. What I do with this drill is I take a tee and I put the tee in the ground where it's just barely above the surface, and then I work on making a stroke where I hit the ball but not that tee. If I hit the tee, it means I'm coming down on the ball, not a good stroke. And when I work and practice with my one putt ruler, I've got that already built in, so I keep the putter right on the one putt ruler. Thing is, I want to be making a stroke that has this putter face moving ever so slightly up on the ball to get it rolling, but I don't want to be swinging up. And using a tee like this or the one putt ruler helps me do that. And if I'm hitting the leading edge of the putter face on that tee or on the one putt ruler, then I'm swinging down on it and I need to adjust my stroke or my ball position to correct that. But having this little drill with either the one putt ruler or the tee helps me groove a consistent stroke that's moving ever so slightly up on the ball at contact and gets it rolling end over end. Number 8 is I wish I had known the importance of speed way sooner. You see, to be a good putter, you've got to learn to blend the lines you choose with the speed that you roll putts. And it blows my mind how many times I see people out on the golf course working and concentrating and working on their green read and getting the line down, and then they miss the speed by 5 or 6 feet or 4 feet on a 10-foot putt. You've got to think about, as part of every putt, speed. That's why on every putt, part of my routine is looking from the side to see, is this putt uphill or downhill? That's why on every putt, if the putt's longer than 15 feet, I stand behind the ball and I make a little tiny stroke thinking, okay, that'll get me about a quarter of the way there, a little more, okay, that's half the way there, a little more, that's 3/4. All right, that's the speed I want. But you've got to think about speed on every putt. Yes, even the 3-footers, the 5-footers, and definitely the longer putts. You've got to focus and think on speed and read for speed as well. Number 9 that I wish I'd learned way sooner is how uphill and downhill affects the break of putts. It's a fact that if you're putting uphill, it's going to break less than it's downhill. As an example, I've got a 10-foot putt set up here, and you can see I have it aimed, marked with this tee about that far outside the hole, and I go uphill, and that's pretty close. Now on the downhill putt, I'm going to start it at the same target, and you can see it breaks way more. So when you have a downhill putt, you've got to add a little bit of break. An uphill putt, you would subtract a little bit of break from what you would have on a flat putt. While we're on the subject of uphill and downhill putts, let me give you the 10th thing I wish I had known a lot sooner, and that's the ability, a little trick to deaden and slow down a tricky downhill putt. And that's simply this: hit the ball out of the toe a little bit. Instead of striking the ball right in the center of your putter face, use the toe of your putter. Hit it out here a little bit. Now, I know some of you are going to panic and go, oh, that'll cause it to miss offline to the right. No, listen, not like an iron or a wood or a full swing where you're compressing the ball and it's sticking on the face a little bit. Yeah, when you hit a putt off the toe, the putter face is probably going to twist open, but the ball is already gone. There's zero dwell time, and it's been proven over and over again and again, despite what that lying putter ad that says they have the magic grooves that make the ball curve or whatever, they don't, because that's against the laws of physics. Your ball is on the face of the putter such a little time, and all that hitting it out of the toe does not affect the line. All that hitting out of the toe does is reduces the amount of mass that you're applying to the ball, which is a sneaky trick to deaden the putt and roll it a little softer on tricky downhill putts. Another thing I wish I had known way sooner is how grain affects putts and how to read grain. Quick little primer here on that. I've got other videos on the channel that cover it in full detail. So here's a great example. On this green, you can see shiny areas like this, and then a dull area up here. Well, a shiny area means that the blades of grass on the ground are going away from you, going that way. So going there is going to be a little bit faster than up there where it's dull, which means the blades of grass are coming at you like this. And that's going to affect your putt and affect your speed. And grain doesn't always come at you or go away from you. Sometimes it goes sideways. And so if you have a putt that's breaking left to right, say, and the grain is crossways right to left, well, that putt is going to break a little bit less because it's breaking against the grain. Vice versa, if you have a putt that breaks left to right and the grain is going left to right, then you're going to have to add a little more break because that putt is going with the green. I wish I'd learned that a lot sooner. And let me add one thing here. A lot of courses in a lot of parts of the country, like I live and play most of the time in Las Vegas, and a lot of our courses don't have grain, but a few of them do. And so your course may or may not have grain, but you need to be mindful of that if you play at various places or at courses that have grain. 12th thing I wish I had learned way sooner is the importance of a stroke trigger. Because I see a lot of times what happens is people go through their routine and they get over the ball and they get set, and then it's like hesitation and doubt creeps in and tension creeps in. You need to have a trigger. And that's a moment at the very end of your routine, which is the signal to your brain to start the stroke. So you maintain a consistent rhythm and a consistent timing, and you don't allow hesitation or tension to creep in and confuse your brain about what you're doing here. A lot of tour pros and a lot of golfers use a forward press. So right as they're about to start the stroke, they'll make a forward press. A lot of golfers do a little bit of a hover over the ball. Some of them tap their toes. Some of them tap their putter. I don't care what you do. If you've never tried a stroke signal, work on combining this with your routine. I end my routine and make the stroke, and make it a thing of timing where your routine to the trigger takes the same amount of time on every putt. You'll be amazed at how that will alleviate tension, make you a lot smoother and more consistent. Last thing I wish I had known way sooner is the importance of getting fitted for your putter. Getting fitted for a putter instantly dropped 2 or 3 strokes around off of my score. And I'm not saying you need to run out and buy a new putter, but the next time that you do, you should get fitted for that putter. So my putter and I are in a much better place now. Yeah, we still have an occasional disagreement, but thanks to these 13 tips, we have a great relationship. And if you'll apply them, you will too. If you got anything of benefit out of this video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Take the easy tap in on that subscribe button. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Share this video with a friend. Check out this video on the screen now. And if you really want to fine tune your putting, check out my online courses that are in the video description. And of course, look into the Magic Mind that I talked about earlier and take advantage of the discount on that. And here's to you making more putts.